Hello everyone, today is 22nd of December, now it's 10 o'clock in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I'll share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. And there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment, although before I start let me make a little announcement that today evening between 6 and 9 o'clock, I will start live stream, traditional Sunday live stream or community chat. And you're more than welcome to join the conversation. As you know, I'm actively engaged during those live streams with community, and I'm answering the questions, commenting on the topics that our community is interested in. So it's always good fun, by the way, to have a exchange of opinions in real time. So today between 6 and 9 o'clock, and I apologize upfront if there will be any issues with the buffering. As you know, I'm streaming with a VPN, and therefore for a couple of seconds time to time there may be some issues with the buffering, but previous Sunday it worked more or less okay, and hopefully it will work today also. That's being said, let's go through some news now. And first of all, this report from RIA Novosti about yesterday's attack on Kazan city of the Russian Federation, capital of Tatarstan Autonomous Republic. As you know, about 8 drones were targeting Kazan, drones that were launched by Kiev regime. And we have this report that majority of these drones were actually targeting civilian apartment, residential buildings, basically. And let me translate this news. So the 3 of the 8 drones that attacked Kazan were aimed at objects of military-industrial complex. The rest at the residential buildings, said the head of the Tatarstan, Rastam Minikhanov, in a video message distributed by his press service. So this is official statement. Head of Tatarstan's Autonomous Republic said that a majority, 5 drones from 8, were actually targeting residential apartment buildings. And many of you probably saw when 2 or 3 drones actually hit a tallest residential building in Kazan. It was terrorist attack. It was attack that was meant to terrorize people, first of all, as it was a terror attack on Rilsk day before in the Kursk region, where HIMARS multi-launch, US-made HIMARS multi-launch rocket systems were used to conduct large-scale attack on the town, as a result of which many people died and were wounded. And there was significant damage, of course, also to civilian infrastructure. So that's the face of the Kiev regime, by the way. They are terrorists, and these terrorists, unfortunately, are supported by Western countries. Interfax, some may ask, will Russia retaliate? I mean, this is forever question nowadays. Will Russia retaliate? And if so, how, when? I don't know, dear friends. Probably there will be some strikes in upcoming days on military and logistics infrastructure of the Kiev regime, and that will be called a retaliatory strike. As it happens always, I don't think Russia will take action against decision-making centers in the Kiev regime, and I definitely don't think Russia will take action against military assets of the NATO member states that are directly involved in these long-range strikes on Russia, being by drone or by missiles. And we all understand that not just ATACMS, US-made ATACMS, or British Storm Shadow or French Scalp PG missiles are basically launched with direct involvement of NATO military personnel. But these long-range drones, by the way, they also receiving targeting data, flight path from NATO countries. So NATO is involved in these long-range drone strikes, also directly involved. But still, despite the earlier warnings from Russian leadership, or statements that if such a long-range strikes will take place, Russia will consider military assets of the Western involved countries, basically, as a legit target. Despite those statements, I don't think Russia will retaliate on military assets of the NATO countries, at least not before 20th of December, when Trump supposed to take office in a White House. In my personal opinion, this is a mistake, because anybody who thinks that once Trump is in office we will see some sort of de-escalation is mistaken. There will be no de-escalation, only escalation. And unfortunately, in my personal opinion, Russia is losing time, wasting basically priceless time, which definitely will be used against us. And this absence of reaction or absence of retaliatory strikes on Western assets definitely encourages further Western ruling class to continue with this constant escalation. And at this point, I have no doubts, unfortunately, that Western ruling class will authorize next phase of escalation, which is going to be transformation of the Kiev regime into nuclear armed regime. Give it about 3 to 5 months time, maybe even less, and we will face not just this long range drone and missile strikes, we as Russia and citizens of Russia, but we will face risks that any of these missiles or drones can be tipped with their dirty bomb that Kiev regime will acquire with active assistance of US, first of all, or let's say NATO specialists, right? I'm afraid this such developments at this point are inevitable. That's why I was, even though I want the escalation to happen, still I was supporting idea that Russia should retaliate, and retaliate strongly on this long-range missile and even drone strikes, and retaliate on military assets of the countries, NATO countries that are involved, because such action potentially would deter Western ruling class from further escalation. And that next phase of escalation, which is transformation of the Kiev regime into a nuclear armed regime. But because Russia did not retaliate, therefore Western ruling class has no incentive to de-escalate. They don't feel pressure, right? And there are quite a few times members of our community are asked me a question in the comment sections, what I mean under retaliatory strikes, what should Russia do? It's not up to me, obviously. They're much more clever and much more informed people in the Kremlin and in defense ministry and security services and think tanks that are providing Russian leadership with their analytical data. But in my personal opinion, if Russia took out US military base in Poland and recently opened military base, let's say, of anti-missile defense, if Russia took out US military base in Romania, for example, which is used as for prolongation of this conflict, which is used, that base in Romania that I'm talking about is directly involved in this war effort that Western ruling class is involved in, right? If Russia, for example, take out a British military base in Cyprus, that would be strong enough message, I believe. 20-30 minutes warning is enough for personnel, and that would be just gesture of kindness from Russian side to give a 20-30 minutes warning, so that militaries of so that Washington and London, for example, and I'm talking about US and UK because at this point we don't really have information that Scalp PGs also were used, French cruise missiles, to strike deep into Russia. But if French missiles were used also, then France also has bases, right, all around, so they can be targeted. 20-30 minutes warning is enough to evacuate personnel, but not enough to evacuate all the military equipment. So therefore, strikes would be substantial, right? And that will put pressure on the Western ruling class. People in these countries maybe will start wake up, and those people, societies of these countries, will put more pressure on their governments and eventually on the Western ruling class to de-escalate, because I don't think majority in US or majority in France or UK really wants to end up in a full-scale nuclear war with Russia. And I don't think majority of people in these countries really understands why their countries are engaged in this proxy war against Russia. So that's what I would do, by the way. I will take out I will give 20-30 minutes warning to evacuate military personnel, and then I will obliterate US military bases, couple of them, British military bases, couple of them. And that will be strong enough message, I believe. If West will retaliate for that, well, I will escalate further. And I will obliterate US or UK's military base without any warnings. And potentially with the nukes. Right? And if West will escalate on that, then I will launch all my missiles towards my enemies. All of them. And I will warn about it up front. Western ruling class. And you know what? After first retaliatory strike, I don't think Western ruling class will dare to continue escalation. So there would be no need to deploy some more extreme force. That's my understanding of the situation, because I believe Western ruling class is not suicidal. They're not suicidal. Anyways, dear friends, let's continue. This is my take, and I believe majority here in Russia would agree with me that, you know what, if war is coming, then let's fight this war, If fight is inevitable, then there's no point to run away from it, right? Let's fight then. Majority here in Russia most likely will agree with me that Russia should take out at least a couple of military bases of US and UK and France if French missiles were also launched. I'm 100% convinced on that. So therefore, me personally, I'm losing understanding of the policies of the Russian leadership on this subject, right? But as I said, I'm a simple man, ordinary citizen here, and no one really cares what my opinion is. So let's continue. Interfax is reporting that according to Defense Ministry, 42 Ukrainian drones were intercepted during the night and early hours of this morning. Yet another relatively large-scale long-range strike deep into Russian territory with the drones. And of course, this crime was committed by Kiev regime with active assistance of NATO member states, obviously. 20 drones, according to some reports, more than 20 drones even, were intercepted over the Oryol region of the Russian Federation. And unfortunately, during that strike on Oryol region, one of the energy facilities, a fuel depot or refinery, caught fire, and there is some significant damage in the area, according to some reports in Russian segment of internet and some videos that are circulating on that matter. 8 drones were intercepted over the territory of Rostov region and Bryansk regions. 5 drones over the Tver and the Kursk regions, 5 each. 1 drone over the Krasnodar region. And by the way, governor of Oryol region, Andrei Klitschkov, confirmed information that as a result of these drone strikes in a region, energy facility of energy infrastructure was damaged and caught fire. Without any precise information, but he confirmed that energy facility was hit. Novosti is also reporting that, according to calculations that news agency did, since the beginning of special military operation, Russian armed forces destroyed over or at least 30 Patriot air defense systems launchers. Let's translate this news for a little more detail. I wonder how many of those Patriots are left in US military's inventory, for example, or other NATO member states armies. The Russian armed forces during the special military operation in Ukraine hit at least 30 launchers of the US-made Patriot anti-aircraft missile systems, according to RIA Novosti's calculations based on official data from the Ministry of Defense. One of the last and most effective strikes is mentioned in a report for December 15. Then 4 launchers were destroyed, as well as combat control vehicle and MPQ-65 radar station. I reported about that strike, by the way. I remember that. So yes, 30 launchers at least are neutralized, launchers of the Patriot air defense systems. RT, meanwhile, is reporting that CIA chief pays his last visit to Kiev. U.S. Central Intelligence Agency's director, William Burns, had made yet another an announcement trip to Kiev, likely his final before stepping down from his position, according to Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky. Zelensky disclosed their meeting in a Telegram post on Saturday, highlighting the significant role Burns has played in supporting Ukraine during its ongoing conflict with Russia. Not Ukraine, by the way. US and EU member states, they basically decimated Ukraine. They sacrificed Ukraine and killed it. They never helped Ukraine or people that are living there. They're sacrificing them, right? But Zelensky is happy, by the way, because he is one of the richest men now in this world, right? He made a good buck by sacrificing Ukrainians and citizens of Ukraine. I don't believe in existence of Ukrainians, by the way. Let's be real here. Ethnically, there are no Ukrainians. Never existed and will never exist. And political Ukrainianism that we are observing, that's political stuff, nonsensical, because it's not connected with history, with the cultural development of that area. People were brainwashed, and they believe now they are descendants of Vikings and descendants of Sarmatians, and they are Ukrainians. Some of these Nazis, by the way, don't even believe that they are Slavic people. That's how brainwashed they are, by the way. So there are no Ukrainians, right? Ethnicity, Ukrainian is non-existent, right? Scientifically speaking. And in some of my updates, I explain my take on the situation. But they can call them themselves wardrobes if they want to. It does not make wardrobe ethnic group, right? Or ethnicity. Anyways, Bill Burns paid his last visit to Ukraine as a CIA director. We have had many meetings during this war, and I'm grateful for your help. Zelensky wrote, accompanied by a photo of him shaking hands with Burns. So no details about what topics were discussed between these two criminals and mass murderers, terrorists basically. And I don't even care what they have discussed. What is the main topic? That both are disgusting human beings, absolutely. That's all, right? Kommersant newspaper is reporting that Ukrainian terrorists organized through their so-called secret services, organized mass arson attacks around Russia. Yesterday, day before yesterday, also Ukrainian terrorists organized terror attacks in some shopping malls in Russia. Under their orders, assets that they recruit in Russian territory were using fireworks in shopping malls to scare people basically, and videos are circulating on internet when people are running out of shopping malls. You'll see, many of you will probably see those videos. So, well, terrorists do what terrorists do. I mean, and modern Ukraine is a terrorist enterprise. Kiev regime is a terrorist organization, and no one should expect anything else from them. Only terror, and that's why I think Kiev regime has to be neutralized completely. No negotiations, no nothing. Complete extermination. That's it. Complete extermination of terrorists. That's my personal position. And no mercy, by the way. There can be no mercy towards terrorists, right? And that's why I'm struggling to understand when there is statements from Moscow that, you know, we are ready for talks. With whom? With terrorists that kill thousands of your citizens? Really? You're gonna negotiate with those terrorists? No, man, no negotiations, no nothing. Let's, if necessary, let's mobilize us, all of us, man. Let's do large-scale mobilization. I will be one of the first in that line of mobilized people, right? And let's finish this. We didn't start this war, but let's finish it on our terms. If necessary, let's mobilize millions of us. But no negotiations with terrorists, by the way. No mercy towards terrorists. Let's kill them all. That's it. And of course, everybody understands I'm talking about terrorists. I'm not talking about people that have nothing to do with the criminal activity of this terrorist so-called state, right? And the terrorist regime. But when it comes to terrorists, no mercy, just a complete extermination of them. Meanwhile, RT is reporting that Kremlin comments on the possible Scholz visit to Moscow. Kremlin has rejected reports suggesting German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is planning to visit Moscow for discussions with President Vladimir Putin about prospects for a peace with Ukraine. Then, quote, no, there are no such plans, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told newspaper Vedomosti on Friday when asked about the rumored visit. Speculations about a possible trip to the Russian capital by Scholz, German Chancellor, first surfaced in Germany's Christian Democratic Union circles, according to sources in their party, which is in opposition to Scholz's Social Democratic Party. Business contact from the German Eastern Business Association suggested Scholz might travel to Russia for a peace mission, and this was reported by Spiegel originally. Well, you know, Peskov was quite clear there. There is no preparations for a visit of Scholz, and yet again, even if Scholz, for domestic political purposes, he's immensely unpopular. Elections are ahead, and they're most likely him and his party gonna lose a big time. And maybe he thinks, he may gain some political points, if he comes to Russia. I can understand why Scholz and his inner circle might want such a media operation, but or PR operation. But why would Russia agree on that? Yet again, I don't understand. You know, why would Russia ever allow Scholz or anybody from his cabinet to visit Russia? Ever. We should always keep in mind that people that are formally in charge of Germany right now are directly involved in death of thousands of Russian citizens. That says it all, isn't it? Scholz is enemy of Russia. Scholz's government, they're enemies of Russia, literally enemies of Russia, and you cannot take seriously such a news when Scholz is trying to pretend if he's some sort of peacekeeper, man. I mean, this is nonsense. We are living in very weird times, by the way. I mean, this world is going crazy, really. because stuff is happening that it's absolutely nonsensical and should never happen, but there we go. There is some glitch in Matrix, by the way, huge glitch, you know. Anyways, let's continue. And when it comes to visits to Russia, well, we have this report that Putin is about to meet with the EU member state, head of EU member state, and this information comes from Serbian president, who, and Serbia is not a EU member, at least for now, right? So Russian President Vladimir Putin is scheduled to meet Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico on Monday, tomorrow. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić has claimed the reported meeting comes as Belgrade is preparing for the US sanctions against the country's main oil and gas company, Naftne Industry, NIS, Naftne Industry Serbia, NIS. And then quarter, as I learned unofficially, and when I say unofficially, as I said about the sanctions against NIS, it is absolutely certain on Monday Robert Fico will go to Putin as the leader of European Union country, which it said during an interview with the Serbian Happy TV on Friday. What name, by the way? I mean, great name, Happy TV. They should have always just positive news, you know. So he said this on Friday, as quoted by Euronews. Serbia. So interesting. Roberto Fico definitely welcomed in Russia, and Serbian president and anybody from Serbia, by the way, always welcomed in Russia. Obviously, Serbians are our brothers and sisters. So good. If this information is correct, and I have no reason to doubt statement of Serbian president, then great. Roberto Fico will visit Russia, and I guess Slovakian leader will discuss with Russia energy security of number of Central European states, Eastern and Central European states, and energy security of these countries definitely is a bigger topic, especially now when after December contract will no longer be in place between Russia's Gazprom and Ukraine about transit of Russian gas, and definitely alternative routes are needed and will be used to supply these countries in Central and Eastern Europe with Russian energy, right? Turk Stream is one of the ways, obviously, or South Stream gas pipeline, but there are some other ways. Also, I'm quite sure Russia and the European states will manage to basically overcome all the obstacles that are created artificially by Brussels and the proxies of the Brussels, right, in Kiev. And dear friends, before I continue, let me notice that this small media project is completely subscriber funded. And if you like my work, if you like my channel, if you think I deserve to be in this field of news and political commentary, if I'm interesting enough and my programs, then please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page, and page on Boosty also, by the way, where I have additional extra content on regular basis. Of course, Patreon page is much more developed, for sure. Boosty is more for, more useful tool for donations. Especially after my account was blocked on Buy Me a Coffee. So yes, all the links, by the way, to PayPal, Boosty, Patreon, and I had the second update yesterday on Patreon, by the way. That was first update. Well, yesterday I only had one update, and that was on Patreon. Hopefully, Patreon community find that video interesting. So yes, all the links under this video in description box and in the pinned comment, including crypto wallets in case you are good with the crypto. Let's continue with some more news now. RIA Novosti is reporting that US, Israel, and according to some reports, UK also participate in yet another large-scale strikes, airstrikes on Sana in Yemen. This combined strike was directed against the Houthi rebels and their infrastructure. Some videos are circulating on internet, which is difficult to confirm, but if those videos were made, if those videos are documenting aftermath of this strike, then some significant damage was done for sure. RT is also reporting that US, meanwhile, shuts down its own jet during that process of bombing of Yemen, you know. So the US Navy inadvertently shut down its own A-18 fighter jet in a friendly fire incident over the Red Sea, the Pentagon announced shortly after issuing a press release about another successful bombing raid against alleged Houthi targets in Yemen. The FA-18 was shot down by the guided missile cruiser USS Gettysburg after taking off from the USS Harry Truman aircraft carrier. US Central Commander confirmed early Sunday morning. The two Navy pilots were able to eject from their fighter jet and were recovered safely through one sustained minor injuries. So, well, I don't know how effectively US militaries are fighting against Houthis, but they are quite effective to, you know, against each other, and they, you know, friendly fire accidents occur, by the way. It's nothing extraordinary really, but well, and then US Navy or US militaries definitely are not immune to that, and they quite successfully shut down their own plane. Okay, pilots are you know, ejected, or one sustained minor damage, although by the way, these ejections from planes, it's always stressful, and there are pilots after that definitely need some time to recover, because there's always some sort of damage done to the pilots. Not little, but some damage, because can you imagine you are ejecting from the plane on speeds of, like, let's say 500-700 miles per hour. It's of course it is a stressful stuff for you know. Anyways, let's continue. Meanwhile, by the way, US takes down 10 million bounty for a new Syrian so-called leader. US has taken down its offer of 10 million reward for information leading to capture of Syria's new leader Ahmed Hussein al-Shara, better known by his nom de guerre Abu Muhammad al-Julani nickname, terrorist, by the way, right? The decision came following Washington's delegation's meeting with the leadership of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTC, terrorist organization in Damascus on Friday, by the way. I mean, there was times, isn't it, when US leadership, US state institutions were at least trying to hide that they are connected with these terrorist organizations. They created those terrorist organizations. They are supporting them. There was a times when US, UK leadership, they were trying to hide their presence in all those situations. But now they just don't care. They don't even care, by the way. They are, you know, openly supporting them, providing weapons, money, whatever, you know. That's the level of where US and their other Western countries really are at this point. You know, they are supporting terrorists that are beheading people kids included, by the way, and there are videos on internet, right? Maybe YouTube deleted those videos now, but somewhere you might find it. When this very animal, Al Jaluni, or whatever his dirty name is cutting head of kid. You can find that video, by the way, right? And he is now celebrated in the West as some sort of freedom fighter. Okay, man. Level of degeneration of political class in the West, or so-called elites, has no limits, by the way. It's a total disgrace. RT is reporting that Biden approves more military aid for Taiwan. Not surprisingly, these criminals, by the way, in US, formally in US leadership, are acting like there is no tomorrow, by the way. They are stealing billions of taxpayers' money in US and allocating these funds, God knows where and for what purposes. And now 571 million, by the way. Just yesterday, just a couple of days ago, I reported about latest military aid package for Kiev regime for 1.2 billion, right? A few days earlier, there was another one for several hundred million and another one for several hundred million. Now Taiwan also. Taiwan just recently started receiving Abrams tanks, right? I reported about it on my Telegram channel. And now this. US President Joe Biden has authorized 571.3 million US dollars in so-called defense assistance for Taiwan, according to White House statement on Friday. Beijing, which insists their self-governing island is a part of the People's Republic of China, views these relations as a violation of its sovereignty and a threat to regional stability. Aid package includes a potential sale of military equipment valued at approximately 265 million. The US government has also approved 30 million sale of parts for 76 millimeter outer cannons. Well, majority of this money, by the way, as it is in a case of terrorist regime in Kiev, is going back to pockets of corrupt officials in the West, right, and the military-industrial complex. And Taiwan's story is not any difference, right? And I guess Chinese people and Taiwanese people, they understand that the Western ruling class will do whatever it takes to provoke war there between the two, most likely in upcoming years, and it will be best. It will be best decision Taiwanese people can make if they will somehow influence local regime there, if necessary, even with action, to neutralize US assets in Taiwan and to reunite with China, because otherwise Taiwan will reunite with China anyways, but with a much heavier price, with much heavier cost. So if Taiwanese people are looking into future and want peaceful future, it is time for them to act and neutralize Western assets, US assets on the island. If they want future for their kids and the grandkids, because US will sacrifice them in a very same manner, very same way they are sacrificing residents of this former Soviet republic, so-called Ukraine, right? Anyways, let's continue. And of course, Taiwan is China, by the way, there can be no questions about that. And whoever claims to be a legit leader in Taiwan is just criminals, by the way. Bunch of criminals, US assets, right? That's all it is. Taiwan is China, Taiwanese people are Chinese people, that's it. RIA Novosti is reporting that Trump, by the way, is on a threatening stream, isn't it? He's on fire, man. He's threatening just about everybody, almost on daily basis now. Even before he's in White House. Can you imagine what he might do once he's in White House? It's gonna be very interesting and most likely strange, at least, and unfortunately dangerous times when Trump will be in office. Because all sorts of radicals, by the way, all sorts of radicals will most likely have influence on his policy making. And let's go through this news. Trump is threatening Panama, by the way, that if tariffs on the passage of the vessels through Panama Strait will not be lowered, then US may reclaim this channel. US, he's threatening, by the way, with invasion, with war, right? That if you don't do as we tell you, then we're gonna reclaim this channel. Okay, man, this is crazy, right? This is crazy. I mean, what the hell, man? Panama is at least formally sovereign state, and Panama Channel is belongs to people of Panama, right? To that country, and they are entitled to impose whatever tariffs they want for passing the ships, right? It's theirs. If you don't like it, then go around the Americas, right? Don't use that channel. That's it. But to threaten that you're gonna go in and reclaim this channel, I mean, come on, man. But it is what it is, man. So yes, Panama can be target, by the way, and most likely will be target of US, and not just Panama, by the way. For example, we have this news that Donald Trump gives oil ultimatum to EU also. So there is no friends or foes, by the way. Washington is threatening just about everybody, everybody. So US President-elect Donald Trump has said the EU should reduce its trade gap by boosting purchases of American oil and gas, or it risks being hit with the tariffs. The US, at least Trump is not threatening EU with invasion, although why would he invade Europe? I mean, US is in charge anyways, right? And there is 100,000 occupation force of US in Europe, isn't it? The US goods trade deficit with the EU stood at 156 billion, by the way, euros, which is 162 billion US dollars. This was data for 2023, according to Eurostat. In a poster on a true social media platform, Trump wrote on Friday, the EU should make up their tremendous deficit with the US by the large-scale purchase of our oil and gas. Otherwise, it is tariffs all the way, he warned. According to Eurostat, the US already supplied 47% of EU's liquefied natural gas imports and 17% of the bloc's oil purchases in the first quarter of the 2024. Data shows US crude exports to Europe stands at around 2 million barrels per day, representing over half of their country's total exports, with the rest going to Asia. The Netherlands, France, Germany, Spain, Denmark, Italy, and Sweden are the biggest US energy importers, government data shows. So, yes, by the way, US is not playing around, isn't it? So, European states will, I guess, have no option but to buy more gas and oil and more everything basically from US, no matter prices, no matter if prices are higher, for example, on US products than elsewhere. But Trump is very clear: you're gonna buy it or else, and EU will buy. No doubts about that, by the way. And EU already is buying, by the way, almost half of energy for EU economies comes from US, and you can clearly see results of that. The industrialization of the leading European economies is seems like unstoppable trend right now. You cannot stop it because due to this high energy cost, manufacturing plants, companies basically are unable to compete on the world market, and therefore they're moving their plants elsewhere, including in US itself, right? And in certain states in US, by the way, energy price is like 3 to 5 times lower than in Europe in average, right? So it does make sense for many businesses to move even into US to survive, right? Due to this difference in energy prices. But yes, I mean, Trump is not playing around, man. And his team, they are threatening just about everybody. And once they are in office, I guess they will act on these threats or promises. TASS news agency, meanwhile, is reporting that about 54 kilometers of the coastline, Black Sea coastline of the Russia, has to be cleaned now from fragments of mazout oil product after a spell happened due to emergency situation with a number of Russian tankers. And yes, it is ecological disaster, of course. It is ecological disaster. Thousands of tons of soil have been removed already, according to some reports that I read. Soil that is contaminated with this mazout, and work is underway. And I'm quite sure before summer, this coastal line will be cleaned up completely. Oh, emergency services and locals, by the way, will do whatever it takes for this, because these areas, by the way, that are hit with this ecological disaster are very big in tourism, especially summer tourism, right? And summer tourism play huge role in local economies, and therefore, of course, everything will be done to neutralize this damage that is done with this oil spill. And for summer, I guess Russian Black Sea coast resorts will be ready to host the guests. But it is a very tragic, unfortunate ecological disaster, and beaches can be cleaned, obviously, but unfortunately, many, animals and birds being, harmed by this, of course. Unfortunate, but So this is it. This is it for now. Let me check a few media outlets for any breaking news for this moment, because sometimes it happens. I just finished recording update. I'm uploading, and some breaking news is reported, and so let me check. At this point, no breaking news. So yes, okay. I hope you will find this update informative and interesting and useful. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything. It's a Sunday, and today's update was like informal talk, more like. I hope it's okay. I don't know. Anyways, if you can, please click that like button, leave some commentary just about anything. This is the only way we can try at least to influence algorithm. And if you like my work and want to support, all the links are on this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And before I go, let me remind you that from between 6 and 9 o'clock this evening, I will start a live stream. Sunday, traditional Sunday live stream, community chat, and I hope YouTube will send you a notification. A live stream will be on YouTube. I hope YouTube will send you a notification, but if not, I will make announcement on my Telegram channel and on my page on Twitter X for sure, and on community chat in YouTube itself. So that's been said, this is it for now. Have a wonderful day and take care.